Today I fucked up by showing 14-year-old nephew my top naked girlfriend, and then he showed it to my mom. Happened last year exactly on this day. Happy birthday my dear nephew. Pre-fuck up era when life was good. I come home after 6 months for my nephew's birthday. Girlfriend was with me in the cab. Mom invited her over for lunch. My mother thinks she's just a friend of mine and I like keeping it that way. While they talk and get to know each other, I show my nephew the Android tablet I got for him and help out with the setup. Girlfriend had a flight to catch, long distance relationship 80% of the year, so she leaves. Now, as we like to keep things spicy in the long distance, we sex chat almost every week. Sometimes it would later turn into a video call. As it happened on the night of the brilliant fuck up, it's 1 AM, we have been sexting and things are getting hot. Tell her I'm hard and I'd like to see her. Call me on Google Duo, our favorite video call app. I got no reply for 10 minutes. I decided, okay, she's taking time, let me jerk one off. Now, I keep my phone aside and I'm doing the deed, and suddenly I hear knocking on the door. It's 1 AM and everyone in my family goes to bed by 10:30 PM. WTF? So I put on my pajamas, boner still very obvious, and open the door. Apparently, when you set up Google account on your nephew's tablet, you shouldn't log in with your own personal Gmail address. He got the call, woke up, and instead of coming to me he went to the next room where my mom was sleeping. Cherry on top, you would assume that my girlfriend would have hung up when she saw it's not me on the other end, but wait, Google Duo has this amazing feature that you can see the live video of the caller without even answering the call. So she had no idea who's on the other end while he kept looking at her live. Anyway, my mom didn't say much, just handed me the tablet and said she's going to sleep. We never spoke of it again. My nephew still smiles when her name comes up in any random conversation. He's a devil in the making. Too long didn't read. My naked girlfriend called me on Google Duo where you can see the video before answering the call. My nephew got the call on his new Android. He freaked out and showed it to my mom. Man, kids are lucky to grow up with the technology we have today. 14-yo but with a soul of an 8-yo. Exactly. Hoping his soul grows over time. What a shitty feature for a video calling app. It's almost as bad as the cast button that doesn't confirm before it sends your shit to the device. Why did he snitch while there's tits? I'm not understanding his mental rookie mistake. He was 14. Coming soon. Today I fucked up by sexting my long-distance boyfriend. Today I fucked up by catching feelings on OnlyFans. Oh, I know, that's not how that site works. I know. I'm subbed to a handful of creators, and I talk with them, and buy content, and tip, and they're sweet and flirty and nice, and it's not like this. This one added me on Snapchat, doesn't charge me for content, tells me about her actual life, all that. I tell myself that she's just really good at her job. Tell myself that I'm too old for her, 33-20. I still get depressed when she ignores my messages for an entire day. I'm not a neckbeard that has never known the difference between kindness and a crush. I was married for a decade, fuck COVID. I'm a regular schlub that fucked around and got invested in an imaginary online relationship. I just had to vent to someone, because I've got to distance myself from the creator with whom I've become enamored. Downvote if you must, let this die if you want, IDFC. Too long didn't read. I developed a crush on a pretty girl when there was no way she was into me and I 100% knew better. I hate to say it but I think you're only friends. Definitely stay away from strip clubs then, aka OnlyFans hard mode. I understand this. I'm subbed to the bikini barista I get my coffee from. The thirst is real. Fucking thirsty 30s, man. I think you're 100% right, move on. Good for you for starting by writing this post. Tell her comments must not be on OnlyFans Lamau. If it's not money she's getting out of it, it's attention. No one goes there for a real relationship, just paid fantasy ones. Based on the post, it seems like COVID may have ended a decade-long relationship. If so, these feelings are totally normal, dude. Correct me if I'm wrong on that timeline, but if you're trying to move on from someone or are broken-hearted, it's very easy to replace that deep connection with something superficial and not realize it. So many rebounds and hookups after a breakup end up messy for that reason. And then they often go back to the ex once they realize it isn't the same thing. In this specific case, because money is involved, it would be hard to suggest the feelings may be real, although not impossible. Considering the number of men she communicates with and it being a source of income, you have to assume the closeness is a way of getting more money. I'm sure the friend/love side is also an advantage in the move, and being in a relationship without any of the commitments is something I think everyone would like. But I'd only use this to instead find something real and lasting in person. Rebuild some confidence. Retool your ways to flirt. Find what she responds to. I'm sure you know this, just wanted to drop my 2 cents. The last thing I'd feel is guilt. Everything is an opportunity to learn and grow. Thanks, friend, you made some excellent points. Smile. Today I fucked up by inquiring as to why a student was refusing to do work. Preface, this happened earlier this week, but I finally got smacked with the fallout this morning. I'm a high school teacher. This is my 2nd year on the other side of the classroom, and as many of you current high school students are aware, COVID has made the classroom environment quite a bit different than it's been in the past. Everything is pretty hectic, the schools are painfully short-staffed, and people, students and faculty, are disappearing for weeks at a time. Half of the class is sitting in a Zoom room while the other half sits in front of me. It's kind of just disastrous. We're in our 8th week of the fall semester now. Weather's getting nominally colder, flu season is about, and morale is generally pretty low. Monday morning of this week I got a call from administration an hour before I was slated to be in class. Mr. X has decided not to return to the school, and terminated his contract this morning. We don't have a replacement and our substitute list is lacking. I know you only have 1 prep period, but would you be willing to give it up until we can find a replacement and act as a stand-in for that hour? Unenthusiastic, but wanting to establish myself as a source of reliability at the school where, again, I'm only in my 2nd year. I begrudgingly agree. We're a 7th, 12th school, so we cater to middle and high school. I teach 9th and 12th grade literature/English and history. The class I'm standing in for, 7th grade social studies. Now there's a reason I chose high school as my field. Teenagers are obstinate, yes, but generally respond better to authority simply because they're mature enough to understand consequences. Middle school is a weird place. Emotionally and mentally the development ranges from truly children to effective adults. It's a confusing amalgam of maturity, and one I never prepared to deal with. So on to the fuck up, I guess. Monday morning I come in, pound my coffee, make it through my 0th and 1st hour classes, and now it's time for what should be my prep period. I gather my things, lock my classroom door, stop by the teacher's lounge for another cup of coffee, and make my way out of the building and across to the campus to the middle school hall. I'm promptly greeted at the front door by the middle school director, a kindly old woman who I've had nothing but pleasant interactions with, Mr. Devil. Thank you so much for giving up your hour of solace to stand in. You have no idea how helpful this is. To which I offer some semi-genuine reply with as much enthusiasm as I can offer. I ask about prepared notes and lesson plans and am told that everything you'll need is in a binder on the teacher's desk. No problem, I've subbed for classes before during my tutelage in college. I can handle this. I get into class, take a look at the lesson outlined for the day in the lesson plan, set my things down, and the bell rings and flood the students. A small class of only about 13, and no Zoom students this hour, so a relievingly light class load. I introduce myself as Mr. Devil, and a couple of the students start whispering to one another. After a moment of this, and after taking attendance, I ask the 2 boys in the back, very pointedly, about what's so interesting that they have yet to acknowledge their own names in the roll call. You're the English teacher in the high school, right? One of them, Yes. My big sister says you're a real dick. I'm taken aback at this point. My reputation with my students has always been positive, save for a couple of students who are obviously checked out and waiting to turn 18 so they can pick up a crap job somewhere and smoke pot in their apartment without their parents nagging down their neck, who don't appreciate any attempts at instilling some discipline. Not to let that set the mood of the classroom, I respond with I run a tight ship, and in my classroom, work gets done. I have little tolerance for nonsense, and if that makes me so unbearable, then so be it. This seemed to satisfy the student, and I followed up by expressing that language of that sort won't be tolerated either. The bell rings to signal the beginning of class, and I hand out the worksheets the students are meant to be working on that day. We participate in a group activity meant to be directly relatable to the topics at hand, and I turn them over to themselves to finish the worksheet, allowing them to chatter quietly at the same time. Everything's going fine for a little while. There are a couple of instances where I have to rein in the volume, or remind students to stay focused. But there is this one student. One of the two from earlier. It's not the one that insinuated his older sister thinks I'm a real dick, but the recipient of such whispering. I notice that 10 or 12 minutes into the activity and not a single word, not even a name, is on the paper. All I've seen of this student the entirety of class time is conversation of Minecraft and a YouTuber that modded the hardest Minecraft run ever. I stop by the table, point to the sheet, and remind the student firmly that this is due at the end of class and a failure to return a completed sheet will result in a 0. He gives me a sullen look and places his pencil to paper. I make another round offering assistance to a couple of other students asking for it, offer another reminder to keep the voices at an appropriate level, and return to this student's desk. Once again, talking is occurring and no work is being done. I place my hand on the sheet, point to the empty name slot, and say something along the lines of at least pretend to be trying to get work done. You can chat about Minecraft for 15 minutes but can't be bothered to put your name on your paper, and continue checking other students' work. As I walk away I see the student slump in his chair and start to pout. I chalked it up to moodiness resulting in him throwing a fit. How wrong I was. Exchanges much like this happened 2 more times over the course of the hour, him sitting there doing no work, and me stating to him that he needs to start reading the prompt and writing the responses. At this point there's about 15 minutes left in class. The activity should have taken no more than 10 or 15 of the allotted 30 minutes. Most of the students have turned in their work and are either reading quietly, working on other stuff, or chatting in a respectful volume to let others finish. 10 minutes left in class. The one student still doesn't have a thing on his page, and is back to talking about his game of Among Us last night. I'm fed up and about to go and speak with him when our middle school paraprofessional walks through the door. For those of you who don't know, a parapro is a certified classroom assistant, usually meant to aid in classroom prep or help students who struggle with certain concepts and can't keep up with the rest of the class. She looks at me and says, "I'm so sorry I'm late, my alarm didn't go off this morning and I just got here. Has everything been okay?" I was a little surprised, told her it was all well and good, and asked why she was there. A classroom usually doesn't get assigned a parapro unless there's a student that needs one. "Oh, did nobody tell you?" She leans in and whispers the student in the back there. He's effectively illiterate. He can't read or write without major assistance. I figured someone would have said something. My eyes shift to the student in the back, the young man who has yet to so much as put his name on the paper. The young man who, not 20 minutes ago, was questioned as to why he hasn't bothered to so much as put his name on the paper. The young man who I'd effectively been singling out for not reading or writing anything on the paper. I felt my heart sink. I reflected on everything I said to the student, as I would to any other student, and I realized what I had done. The student wasn't pouting because he was angry with being told to focus on a worksheet. He was pouting because someone kept insisting he do it when he outright was completely unable to do so. Nobody fucking told me. No one warned me. We don't keep a list of developmentally disabled students or something. The parapro was supposed to do that, and she wasn't there to. So I spent an hour effectively picking on the illiterate kid without a clue in the world. The class ended, I slinked back off to my homeroom class and I sat there, eyes to the floor, until my next class rolled in. I went through the rest of my day sullen and stricken with personal guilt. Felt terrible. I got off work that night and went straight to the local bar, grabbed a drink, sat out back on the patio, and started slugging down rum. No more than a few moments later, one of my co-workers wanders in, as is standard form. We all drink at the same watering hole, and, well, we all drink. Take it from me, kids, most of your teachers are functioning alcoholics. Just comes with the territory. He wanders over and asks me what's up. I relay everything to him and he responds with, "Oh, that's what the school director wanted to talk to you about." My eyes widen. I go into full panic mode. I slug down the last of my drink and walk my happy ass home in the cold dark night. 2 days passed, and I waited for that dreaded call, or the email that would summon me to my disciplinary hearing. I lost sleep, I felt so ridiculously guilty it was almost physically painful, and I just wanted it to be over. This morning I got to class, set my stuff up, lock my classroom door and wander to the teacher's lounge for my morning cup of coffee. I open the door and who do I see standing there, alone? My director locks eyes with me and I immediately shoot mine to the floor. I'm still living in guilt and embarrassment, the likes I haven't felt since the day I tripped and fell flat on my face at my own middle school graduation in front of 400 people. I shuffle over to the coffee pot and she says, "Cleanly my office." 5 minutes. I comply and work myself up for my inevitable chewing out. I wander to her office door and contemplate just walking away, getting in my car and skipping town. But alas, I do not flee. I raise my fist, rap it against the laminated wood, and she insists I come in. I find myself a seat in front of her, opposite her desk, and sit, anxious and terrified. "So, student, what happened?" I relay everything from my perspective to the clearest of my recollection. I acknowledge that I had absolutely no indication, that nobody had said anything to me, that my parapro was absent and that I've lost sleep over the guilt. She looks me dead in the eye and says, "All right. Now that I've heard your side, it's time we discuss your employment here at school." And my heart sinks. It's over. 4 years of college and I lose my job in year 2. And much to my chagrin, she starts laughing. Quiet and stifled at first, but it quickly grows into loud, raucous laughter. I'm confused and terrified. She stops abruptly, looks me dead in the eye and says, and I will never forget these words, "Seriously, devil kicking on the fucking handicapped kid? How low can you sink?" And she says it with the most devilish grin I'd ever been privy to. My heart sinks, and then recovers, realizing she's teasing. She explains that the student had a history in elementary school of being aware of his deficiencies and milking them for all he can to avoid doing any actual work. She continues to explain that the student understands that when he puts on a pouting demeanor, he receives pity instead of punishment, and that I had no way of knowing who he was or what his history was like. She thanks me for maintaining a proper classroom environment and expecting the same amount of competence from every student, as the assignment was so basic he probably could have fumbled his way through it had he tried. At the end of the meeting I was told I'd be taking over the 7th grade class on my prep every day until a replacement was found, if I felt comfortable returning, and was given the number for 2 substitute parapros in the event that this occurred again. I accepted, and she and I get a solid chuckle out of the whole situation. At the end of it all, she asked if I felt like tripping the kid with crutches too. I have a feeling I'm not living this down for a while. TL, doctor, stood in for a 7th grade classroom, inadvertently singled out the handicapped kid. Thought I lost my job. Now I'm just known as the guy that wants to pick on the developmentally disabled. Please end my life.